Heyo everybody, Haku here with my read through for the Promised Neverland chapters 14, 15, 16, 17 this week. Okay, so we've got the four of them. We just finished with Spy Part 3, and we found out that Don is actually cool. He's actually not really the spy. He's just being set up by Ray, who has been the spy all along, even since before they found out. But it doesn't seem like Ray's a bad guy, because he kind of left these hints for Norman and Emma for them to try to figure out. So it kind of seems like he is a good guy and maybe doesn't want to go through with whatever it is Isabella's making him do. Also, Crone and Isabella have been kind of same old, same old. Gilda's a good girl. I feel bad for her because it seems like Crone is trying to plant seeds of doubt in Emma, in her head, doubts about Emma in her head. But it's one of those things where I feel like Gilda might actually mess up and think that Emma and them are betraying her, because they're going to find out that Emma lied to her about the whole monster versus child trafficking thing. Anything else that I'm forgetting that's important before we read these next four? No? Well, I guess kind of. Norman is like, he has kind of lied to everyone, which shows he's willing to take kind of this darker path in order to get to where they're going, which is escape. So it's like he's still definitely on the side of good, but he's using more darker independent methods to get there. And that's where we ended up at for these next four. And sorry if the video's a little bit late, because I'm recording it a little bit late. Life will just not stop being a mess long enough for me to get anything done on time, it seems. But hopefully this is at least up Wednesday night, but if it's not up until Thursday, sorry about that. So yeah, either way, let's go ahead and start with chapter 14. We'll make it through 17, and then we have 4 next week, plus an omake, and then after that, we'll do whatever it takes. But I noticed that there are a couple chapters that are like 5 parts, like it's one title, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. When we get to those, I'll do a special video. Say if it's like, I think the first one I saw is like 2 chapters and then a 5-part chapter thing. I'll do those 2 chapters on the normal date, like what is it, Wednesday or whatever. And then the next day, like Thursday, instead of doing the special video Thursday or the Haku Thursday, I'll just try to make sure it lines up on the right week so that there's a special video, not a Haku. Instead of doing that, I'll do a second read-through both in the same week where I do all 5 chapters in one video, so that we can keep the parts together in one video and I can read them all in one straight go. So yeah, that's generally just a plan for the future. But either way, 3-minute intro, sorry about that. Let's read chapter 14 and talk about it first. Okay, so we have an even littler Emma. We have Emma, Norman, and Ray as kids. So this is the gate, huh? And sorry, my voice is it feels kind of dry, but hopefully my voice, I warm it up as we go along. Bummer. This turned out to be a lot less fun than we anticipated. Let's head back before Mama sees us. Memories of the past. Ray, why exactly are you working for Mama? And we go back to where they are now. Right. Okay. Manga stream's just kind of a slow, laggy site in general. But, oh well, is what it is. I volunteered to do so, by my own volition. Or rather, it's more like I put myself out there. Why? To prepare for our escape. All of this was to prepare for our escape, he says. I've realized the secret behind this house. What are you going to do about it? Kill me? Says Ray to Isabella. Mama, I want to make a deal with you. Family and a friend. We've always been close together. We knew everything about each other, or at least, so we thought. Chapter 14, Trump Card. Okay, looks cool. I like this cover as well. Let's see if we notice anything, because one of you, I haven't answered the comment yet, but it was really cool. One of you mentioned that I missed looking at the covers on one of the kids had this dark demon looking shadow, which led a lot of people to think that he might have been the traitor back when they were reading. But it doesn't look like anything is anything specifically weird about this one. or anything that I can notice. But I like this. Alright, I feel like if anything it's portraying the feeling that Ray has walked this dark path, all preparing for their escape by having him walking back toward the darkness behind them, while Emma's facing forward crying, sort of hidden behind a shelf from where he is, almost like she feels betrayed. So this is probably just symbolizing Emma's feelings of when she finds out that Ray's been working with Isabella all along. To prepare for our escape. That's right. All of this was mere pre-planning. It was the best way for me to understand our enemy, and for me to gather resources. That's why I've practically sold myself to the enemy. What are you gonna do about it? Kill me, he says in the flashback. The cards weren't completely stacked against me. I have a hunch about the shipping order. It's our scores, right? Mama went through the trouble to cultivate me. I'm part of her pride and joy. Harvesting me halfway should be something that Mama would like to avoid at all costs. I want to make a deal with you. Sure enough, Mama went along with it. For her gains are more important than the rules. I demanded roughly 2 things from her. 1, that she wouldn't ship me off right off the bat if I worked for her, and 2, that I'd be compensated for my work. Your compensation will depend on the fruits of your labor, she says. Compensation? What do you mean with that? All kinds of useless crap. I could get her to order things that weren't found in this house. And then Norman looks shocked. Were you testing what she could and couldn't get her hands on, he says. Exactly. It was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, since I could also get a taste of the outside world through these demands. In the end, I could get almost anything I wanted as long as they weren't dangerous. The only thing that sucked was that all the items I received weren't exactly the newest versions available. Okay, so they have all these pre-Monster World things, and since they're not the newest thing available, it might mean that they're all just old remnants from a human society from before and they don't actually make them anymore. Or that they're just old things that they don't make anymore because all their books and understanding of things in the outside world is from 20-some years ago? What meticulous preparation, thinks Norman. Then, when you said that you had an idea on how to destroy the transmitters, were you actually telling the truth? I've seen them with my own eyes, he says. I've been experimenting. It took many years, but I eventually found a way. I'm definitely capable of destroying them. Let me be clear here. I can reliably render the transmitters useless. Do you get it? Sitting right in front of you in this moment is your most supreme trump card. I'm in a position where I could potentially stab Mama in the back from inside. I know how to render the transmitters useless, and on top of all of it, I know more than you could ever imagine. While it might not be everything, it's all information that you will need to plan your escape. I am your strongest card. I've been preparing for this ever since I knew the house's secret, and we see him as a little kid reading a book about farming, in a way such that nobody, that you guys, nor Mama, would ever find out about it. I tricked Connie, who was none the wiser, and stole little Bernie. I made you 2 go to the gate. You're right, it's just as you said. All of this was for the sake of keeping you 2 alive. And then Norman looks, again, just sort of, not really shocked anymore, but just drinking all this in. Anyway, back to topic. I'm not your enemy, but I'm not your ally either. I won't even try to take part in any ridiculous plans, so I did all I could to restrict you 2. You should already know where I'm heading with this. It all depends on the conditions. If the conditions are favorable, I wouldn't mind selling out and becoming your trump card. I'll hand over all the information and I'll lie to Mama as you wish. What exactly do you want? I want you to fool Emma. And then Norman looks shocked. Pretend like we will bring everyone along, and then ditch them at the last moment. I can allow Don and Gilda to come along, but we're leaving everyone else behind. So you're telling me to give up on bringing everyone. There's no way Emma would agree to this plan, which is why he wants me to fool her. Everyone improved beyond our expectations with the training we've been giving them. Didn't you say so yourself? I'm sure you weren't just lying back then, so then why? They weren't bad, I'll give you that. That still doesn't change the fact that they'd be dead weight. And the thing is, he's right, but they should save them all. It's like, it's an impossible predicament, because he's right if they want to escape. Even escaping without them is going to be difficult, so escaping with them is, like, nearly impossible. But at the end of the day, it's still the right thing to do. So maybe they could escape and break back in for them, but then they don't know who would die in the interim. So yeah, it's just this terrible predicament where there's no real clear-cut right and wrong answers. Could you help us out? Yeah, we had the flashback. You said you'd help us out. This is my way of helping you out. If you want to continue to refuse my offers, then fine by me. Walk straight to your deaths with Emma and the others. Okay. Seems like Ray should be smart enough with all this information, though, to be able to figure out a way for them all to survive if that's the general plan, but whatever. Didn't you want us to survive? Says Norman. If you were to die soon either way, then doing so by getting shipped off would be the best way to go. So, what will it be? You win this? Or you win this? So, threats of that level wouldn't work anymore, huh? To obtain the trump card, I'd have to give up on bringing everyone. To give up the trump card would mean to put everyone in a bad spot. Of course, though, Norman can always can, instead of tricking Emma, also trick Ray by saying, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go along with not bringing everyone along, but then bring everyone along anyway, after he gets all the information and is able to escape. Fine. Right now, even if it turns out to be a lie, it'd probably be best if I just agree with him. If that just now was a lie, then... And then he grabs Norman's shoulder, and I don't know if this is supposed to signify him whispering to him or anything. I know, says Norman. No worries, of course it wasn't. So, Ray really was the spy, but then again, he wasn't an enemy either. No, he was more than that. He can reliably destroy the transmitters. He can even control the flow of information, all according to his will. Not only would he be in a favorable position to restrain the enemy, but he even gathered information to aid our escape, and has an idea about their internal state of affairs. Amazing. What a trump card. With him on our side, we actually have a fair chance of survival. But it all depends on the conditions. Fool Emma. Give up on everyone. I can't leave them behind. What Ray said makes sense, and what Emma wants is reckless. It'd be easy to fool Emma. It'd be hard to fool Ray. It'd be best to go with Ray. Still. And we see Ray walking backstairs, greeting Gilda, Emma, and more of the kids. I want to become like her. If there are more people I could save, then I'd love to do just that. And then Ray walks into Isabella's room. You're late, she says. I was talking with Norman. So what's up with them? Nothing worth reporting. They've just been really focusing on the tag training. More importantly, that aide of yours, she started moving on her own. You better watch out. I see. And we have, again, what he's referencing to her trying to look for the footprints and her trying to get information out of Gilda. You shouldn't have requested her to come. Pretty sure you called her to keep me in check anyway, right? And then Isabella smiles. Even though I've been completely loyal to you these past 6 years, who would have thought you'd still be cautious around me? Honestly, that kind of makes me sad. Just in case pigs start to fly. Your work these past 6 years has been splendid, of course I trust you. But this wouldn't have happened if you were behaving how you should have been in the first place. And then we see, again, the rabbit. Okay. I certainly couldn't have anticipated that Norman would actually break the house rules, but it's not like I expected you to be so useless that you'd fail at keeping your one job of... You'd fail at your one job of keeping watch either. My bad. That's also why I'm making this up to you, by spying on them. I've sold out my closest friends, and I've also told you about the disturbing actions by the sister in fine detail. You better compensate me well for all this. Of course, this is a deal after all. I've already ordered what you asked for. It's going to take 2 to 3 more days to arrive as usual. Okay? And I hate to say this, but I cannot stop. I've gone from thinking she's an amazing character to also being attracted to Isabella. She is a good-looking lady. I've made up my mind long ago, thinks Ray. The boy works in solitude in order to save his friends. How will I spend the rest of my remaining time here? Soon I'll be 6. At most, I can stay here for another 6 years. The number of lives I can save will be limited. That's the reality of this world. I don't give a damn about what all of you want. There's no way I'm letting those two walk straight towards their graves. There's no way I'm letting this 6-year-long plan of mine go up in smoke. So again, he's trying to save his 2 best friends, but at the same time, he's going to end up saving everyone probably. Either that or their plan's just going to blow up in everyone's faces. Who knows? I still feel like Norman has more death flags than Ray, though. But then again, I'm still not sure if this series will even kill off main characters at this point, or if the one death at the beginning was just it. I feel like there's going to be more, but you never know, really. You never know if that's all we're going to have. So yeah, Chapter 14 was good. Kind of straightforward, continuing on with the last 2 chapters, especially Chapter 13, where it's just the sort of conversation struggle between Ray and Norman. So I'm going to get a sip of water and then continue on to Chapter 15. All is good. Okay, so we're starting off with Norman and Ray helping the kids take a bath. Fool Emma. Act like we're bringing them all along and ditch them at the last moment. No way. I want to make Emma happy, and I personally want to bring everyone along too. The gears spin in order to give everyone a chance. And see, I like this, that Norman is still trying to think of a way to save everyone. I can just pretend to fool Emma and deceive Ray instead. It'll be fine. I'm definitely capable of doing it. If I try. Okay. Truly, the worst case scenario. Oh, this is a really good cover. We have his imagination of what happens if he tries this and fails, and it's all the kids dead with the flower sticking out of them. And I have no idea what the flowers actually do or why they use them to kill the kids or whatever, but I'm sure it'll be explained at some point. All the kids' dead faces look really weird though. Like they all have giant heads compared to their bodies, but I guess that's just kind of an anime thing. Or anime manga thing. And this is interesting. One thing about this cover, let me take a good look at it. Okay, so we see Gilda and Emma in the foremost ground, dead, with the flower through their heart. But what's interesting is the kid to the... No, because his skin is a different shade, I think. No, that's the braid girl that's, I forget her name, that's to the right of Gilda. But we see at the very bottom of the screen, one of the kids with darker skin, I'd presume, that's not just shading, but a skin tone. We see their hand, and I don't know if that's meant to represent just Don's, like, Don is off screen, or if like what we're seeing is sort of a view of Norman from Don's perspective. Maybe he's going to play a bigger role in all of this. But it's interesting that his hand is there at the bottom like that instead of him just laying around as a body with all the rest of them. Either way, like, this is one of the things, and I mentioned it before, that's so great about this being done by a separate author and artist, is the artist can really focus a lot on adding a lot in the background of the art, where with normal mangaka that are publishing every single week, where they have to plot out the story and what's happening plus the art, they don't have enough time for a lot of these little details. So, again, really cool. That's why I told you. Okay, and now we're seeing again more of him thinking, and we have Ray behind him. Ray. Emma. No, wake up. You guys. Everyone. And then we see his eye. And we see one of the giant monsters. I want to know more about the monsters and what they are. I'm assuming this is a much longer series and I'm just barely into it. We're going to find out a whole lot more about the world. But that's what I'm really looking forward to. This world building and finding out more answers from this mystery. But it's a really good mystery so far. So hopefully they don't proverbially blow their load too soon. And then Norman wakes up. Norman, it's time to wake up. A dream. Good morning. And then he goes down in the morning. Good morning, Norman. We see Emma. Good morning, Emma. Okay. Morning, Norman, says Ray walking past, putting his hand on his shoulder. Morning, Ray. And now we have all of them taking their tests as usual. Right? They're all hyper-focused. We will now begin. Right? I will get Ray to cooperate. I'll also do what Emma wants, but I have to be careful. Ray, Mama, Sister Crone, with one tiny mistake, we'll get stabbed from 3 separate directions. The result is that everybody dies. Then again, if he betrays Ray, it might be in Ray's best interest to just go along with being betrayed, because once he finds out, oh no, I lied, we're actually bringing everyone along, at that point the plan's going to be so far along that it's like, well crap, they're just going to kill me if I don't go along with it. Screw it, let's go. Think. Ray is the trump card we need. With him, our chances of survival improve dramatically. How can I get him to cooperate without him finding out my true intentions? We have Don, Gilda, the other kids taking their tests. Also, splendid work, you 3. Full scores again. Don, Gilda, both of your scores have jumped up as well. Phil, you too. Yay! And we've seen that Phil is the little one that's getting really super high scores for his age. He was brought up by, I think it was Norman that brought him up before. And then Isabella bends down to put her hands on Norman and Gilda. Truly splendid. Keep it up, you 2. Phil, great job, you 2. And she gives him a hug. He's so positive. Also, how will I tell Emma about all of this? That of all people, Ray turned out to be the spy. How will she handle the truth? The truth. So what was the situation with the fake ropes? Was anyone the source? Me, says Ray. He just says it straight to her face. I'm laughing because I see Norman's face on the left. What? I am Mama's personal source. You! And Emma just screams it. All the kids start looking over confused. Wait, sorry, I had a bit of an outburst there. That was a really shocking revelation, and I'm not exactly sure where to even... Here, let me explain, says Norman. So basically, he's the source, but not necessarily an enemy, and he's been doing it all these years for our sake, says Emma. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I was actually planning on revealing the fact as soon as you 2 returned from the gate that night, says Ray. But then I realized that a lot of things weren't going as I originally anticipated, like how you left little Bernie at the scene and how you started planning to have all of us escape together. And we have, Emma. Yeah, I still feel really bad about the mistake with little Bernie, thinks Norman. Thanks to you guys. Mama realized right away and I had to focus on keeping her restrained. You guys also looked like you were planning on doing something batshit crazy, so I was just like, well, might as well keep quiet and restrain both sides at once. Or whatever, thinks Emma. So the reason you couldn't tell us until now was because you had to cover for our mistakes, huh? And I guess you're really against us taking everyone along since you were trying so hard to restrain us even before we knew the truth about you. Well, not quite. I don't feel that way anymore, says Ray. You've managed to convince me that we should take everyone, and now that you know the truth about me, I don't think I'll be able to secretly manipulate you into changing your mind anymore. From now on, I'll definitely do everything I can to make your plan work. Sorry, my wrist was bothering me. I had to crack it. That's so unlike you, says Emma. And then he glances back, and Norman is still really worried and shocked. Usually you never change your mind once you make it up. Do you think he's lying? Says Norman. Nope, it makes me really happy. Ray confirmed with us that he agrees with our plans. On top of that, now we know that we have a really powerful ally that could potentially deceive Mama whenever we need it. It's all really great news, but I see. So, you knew this whole time, huh? It must have been hard. You knew, but you kept quiet and watched our siblings. So many of our siblings go. Hey, can I ask you something? About you experimenting with the transmitters. Does that mean you've experimented with breaking an actual transmitter embedded in one of our siblings' ears? Ah, I've already experimented. It took many years of trial and error, but I eventually discovered a way to do it. And we have Norman finally realizing that. If you did, in the end, what happened to the child or the children you've experimented on? You didn't end up bumping up their shipment date or anything, did you? You haven't sacrificed anyone for our sake, have you? Okay, interesting. Hold on. I need to take in what that one panel down there was. This one panel is interesting because we haven't seen this panel before. It looks like the kid has freckles and like bangs and light colored hair. So we haven't seen this kid yet, so this must have been a kid who was sacrificed that we'll learn about. I mean, it's fine if you did, it's fine. Thanks to you, we can actually manage to escape together with everyone now. But just make sure, don't you ever dare try doing something like that again. And see, I like this. When you think Emma's naive or not as smart as the other two, she's realizing things that Norman didn't realize in his conversation where Ray was being really open and honest with him, more honest than with Emma. She's realizing that and making sure to put forth her own plans. Like, she's still good in trying to save everyone, whereas the other two have darker shades of gray. Emma is still totally good while being smart enough to keep up with them, showing that you don't have to give up being good in order to succeed. You're not alone in this anymore. You really aren't. And then Ray smiles. I promise. I won't ever do it again. Let's succeed in escaping this hell, together with all of our siblings. So, I won't again makes me think, that yeah, he has confirmed before. And then she runs off to the other kids. Damn, she was pissed, says Ray. Yeah, but she was restraining herself, says Norman, because she knows how tough it must have been for you all these years fighting by yourself. Ray, when and how did you even find out the truth? How did you truly feel all these 6 years? You said that you've been doing everything for our sake, but are you really sure about that? And then Ray is silent. Oh, by the way, once we're back in the house, I have something to report to you two, says Emma, calling over to them. But before that, it's time for us to practice with tag again. So, what's the report? In order to read the enemy, we have to know the enemy first. So Gilda and I decided to try observing Mama for a few days. What we found was that Mama disappears a little before 8 p.m. every night. Disappears, says Norman. Yeah, during that time we can never find her anywhere, says Gilda. Mama disappears. Another secret of this Neverland about to be revealed. So in conclusion, somewhere in this building there must be a hidden room that none of us know of. And that must be when she goes to call in, so we're learning now that it's a daily thing. Okay. So somewhere she disappears to call in, I would assume, each day. Tuesday, October 31st. 8 days until the day of the escape. Chapter 15 end. Okay, that was really, really good. And I kind of already brought up and discussed what I thought was really good about it was that we had this conversation in the past few chapters where it's the big spirits and ideals of Ray and Norman going back and forth and what they've had to sort of give up and the concessions to morality that they've had to make in order to do what they're planning to do and escape. And now we get Emma coming in with this chapter who hasn't really done these evil things and doesn't want to do any evil things. She's still totally good, and yet at the same time she can still keep up with them. She's still kind of on equal footing with them, even when they kind of portray her to each other and to themselves, as sometimes they see her as naive or not on their level. We see that she is still. So she's not really naive. She's kind, but not naive. Yeah, I guess chapter 16 now. Can't think of anything else. But I like that, again, Emma and Gilda taking initiative and finding out more information, and we're learning now that she disappears every day, and we can assume that's to call in. So now they know that if they do kill her or tie her up or something, they have only 24 hours at the very most. If they tie her up after she calls in, and then they have 24 hours at the most to escape before getting caught. Because the monsters realize she hasn't called in. So let me get a sip of water actually before I start 16. And we've got ourselves a color cover this time. 8 days until the escape day, 11 days until release day, a color page to celebrate the upcoming volume release. The time has come for these eternal children to rebel. I like this. Chapter 16, The Secret Room and William Minerva. So I'm wondering if William Minerva was actually the kid that Ray had to sacrifice. And the secret room, obviously, I understand now is referring to Isabella's room that she calls in with. And I'm trying to see if there's anything special with this. There's a lot of reflections. And something that might be interesting, and again, I'm not sure what all of the symbolism means, but we see the reflections in the glass. In one side of it, we have Norman and Emma, and in the other, we have Ray when it comes to being reflected in the glass. At least I think. No, Ray is in the same part as Norman there. But what's interesting to me is it seems like there's some kind of building or something that's being reflected in the water and in the glass that isn't actually in the scene. Whereas when you see the reflections on the ground, they're actual figures. You can't see Ray or Norman's eyes, but you can see their eyes in the reflection. And I think maybe what it's meant to mean. And all the, it looked like bubbles above them at first, but it's actually glasses and shards of glasses falling down, it looks like. But what I think is cool is when you see artwork with the different characters facing the different directions, it usually means that they have different goals or they're going for different things. But what I like is they're in the actual reality, they're all facing different directions, seemingly going toward different goals or anything. But I think goals and stuff, but I think being able to see Norman and Ray's eyes and them looking over in the reflections is kind of meant to convey that though Emma, both in her reflection and in reality, are trying to go for this one good goal, even though Ray is completely turned away, completely going toward the other direction, and though Norman isn't facing exactly the same direction as Emma, when it comes down to it, the reflections show that they're both still aiming for the same goal as Emma, even though they're using totally different methods from her and a totally different system of beliefs. So again, there's a lot just in that one image that I think the artist who does the work, Posca Demizu, totally not a real name, that I think they're doing a great job at. So I feel like I'm going to feel so bad if that actually is the real name. I've just never heard a Japanese name like that. Okay, moving along into chapter 16. And we have this, is that fan art or a color spread? No clue what that is. Oh well, moving along to the actual beginning of the chapter. We see a shot of the house. There's a secret room in this house. What's the secret behind this house? That's right, and its location is right next to Mama's room. And we have this diagram, and we have a gap in this little map they drew that they're assuming the room has to be there. Alright. Mama's room has a washroom right next to it, and her office is next to that. Okay. So, Isabella's room actually has the baby cribs in it. Interesting. and they have a washroom in there. Then there's the hallway, a medical room we see. Okay. And her office is next to that. But our theory is that this area, in between isn't a mere wall. I noticed recently, says Gilda, that every time right before Mama disappears, she always enters either the washroom or her office. And so we decided to put the theory to the test and measure the distances of both the walls inside and outside of the rooms. Oh, that. Oh, and that's when she was walking foot to foot and Norman saw her before. And the result, says Don? They were completely different, says Emma. There's some sort of space worth about 10 steps of mine in there. One side of that space is a wall, and one side is a bookshelf. I think there's some sort of hidden entrance to get inside the space from both rooms, from both sides. Inside will be Mama's secret room. But what's it even for, says Don. Well, that'd probably be for her to make reports, Ray cuts in. Mama reports into the HQ on a daily basis. That's probably what the room is for. So we were right, says Emma and Gilda. HQ, says Don. The headquarters, that send in both people like Sister Crone and her baby siblings. What? Ray, did you already know that this room existed here? And Emma questions him. Nope, but I have been suspecting that there's got to be a room like that somewhere in this house. Let's go then, says Don. It's where she communicates with the outside world. If we investigate the room, we might even find some information on the whereabouts of Connie and the others. But what about the key, says Gilda. It's a secret room, so she must have locked it. Could you break in, Norman, says Emma. It depends on the type of lock. Whoa, hold up, says Ray. There's no need to do something like that. And see, breaking in would be super dangerous, because you would think that somewhere like that might have some sort of alarm that could go off. Well, not really go off, but some sort of trigger that could alert her. But also it just seems like a dangerous place to get caught, more dangerous than anywhere else. Okay. It may have a communication device, but it probably connects to only the headquarters anyway. Mama has no idea where our siblings have been sent to. There isn't much information to gain from this investigation. Yeah, so Ray is totally right. On the other hand, if we try to break in anyway, there's too much risk. Remember that we've got trackers embedded in our bodies. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about the trackers. They could just look at the tracker and see that somebody is in the room where they shouldn't be. On top of that, we don't know what the situation with the security of the secret room is. It's way too dangerous for us to attempt without good reason. So yeah, Ray's totally right about this one. That's exactly what I was saying. Still, says Don. Listen, there's more for us to lose than gain if we attempt to break in. Forget it. We've discovered the room's location. That's great. However, it's still no place for us to try to break in at the current moment. Agreed, says Norman. I see, says Emma, and then Gilda looks a little bit dejected, and Don looks kind of pissed, honestly. Anyways, we have other things we should be worried about instead. That's right, there's no need to rush. Everything has been going according to the plan so far. As long as we keep Ray on our side, Mama won't ship us out anytime soon either, thinks Norman. Right now, we just have to be careful that Sister Crone doesn't catch us doing anything sketchy. If we rush to take action, we'll basically be digging our own graves. Exactly. Mama aside, if Sister Crone gets the gist of anything we're trying to do, we're definitely screwed. Keep that in mind, guys. Don't worry, says Emma. We'll be fine as long as we act normal. Yeah, says Gilda. Gonna go prepare for dinner, says Don. We'll be there soon. I don't quite trust Don. I think he might get hot-headed and do something dumb. And then after the two of them leave. So, says Norman. The thing we should be worrying about now is, says Emma, how to investigate the outside world. All three of them say it at the same time. We already have plenty of information on the inside world. I've been investigating it for the past 6 years. That's right. Our training is going great. We can sneak up on Sister Crone. We have a way to destroy the transmitters. All that's left is, as long as we're able to outsmart the adults with all the information we currently have, it honestly won't be impossible to get over that wall. But that won't be the end. We still have to worry about what happens next. Next, we've got to plan our course after the escape, says Emma. So in a nutshell, here are the 3 things on our to-do list right now. 1. Escape. Get over the wall. 2. Run away. Get away from the premises safely. 3. Survive. Come up with ways to live on our own. We finally figured out the gist of what we'll be doing for step 1. Now we move to the second step. Our goal is to find out more about the outside world. Okay? We've got to figure out a way to avoid the enemies and safely get away. We've got to plan a good route for ourselves. First is the area surrounding the plantation. We need our route, and we need a source of food. Are these grounds within a forest? Or are we located in the middle of a desert? That factor alone will change our course of action drastically. Oh, I don't think it'll be a desert out there, says Emma, raising her hand. That one time I checked the other side from the top of a tree, I'm pretty sure I saw a forest in the distance. You don't sound confident. That's why you'll need these, he says, bonking her on the head. Owie. Binoculars. A prize I got a while back for working with Mama. We'll have to climb the wall and check out the other side with these. If we're going to try to do anything risky, it's got to be this. We need to return to the wall. Anytime starting tomorrow. Let's go as soon as possible, says Norman. And see, this is risky because, again, they can just check the trackers at any time and see that the dots are way too close to the boundary, unless they have some of the kids to distract Crone and Isabella. But the difference is, with that room, they don't really stand much to learn, because what are they going to do? Call into the HQ and then get caught because there's some kids talking on the radio? But with this, there's high risk, and yet at the same time, even though it's high risk, they stand to gain a lot from it. They stand to gain knowledge of what the outside of the wall looks like. Okay. So Emma says, Oh, also, can I tell you something else right after this? I want to introduce you guys to someone, says Emma. And actually, maybe this is William Minerva. They both look confused. And they go into the library. Looks friggin' huge. Jeez. So they go into the library. That's a really nice panel there. The library, thinks Norman. Wait here, says Emma, running off. Hey, could it be that dude with the owl mark? Says, Ray. Yeah, I knew it. You've already noticed, Ray, says Emma, and she plops the book down and starts flipping through the pages. This person, Ex Libris William Minerva. William Minerva, says, Norman, and Emma starts nodding. Who is he? No clue. What I do know is that he used to be the owner of all these books. Where is he? Who is he? Or even if he's still alive, we don't know at all. Still, he might be someone who can become our ally. And Norman looks shocked. What do you mean? This person has been using these books to send out a secret message. And it's not just one book, it's multiple books. In order to survive beyond the wall, this man will become our key and our guide. See? And I like this. Again, it's something that Emma has noticed, Ray has probably noticed, but Norman hasn't noticed yet. That there's a message in all these books. And it's also cool to notice that maybe this guy has been sending books to the place, or maybe this was his library before the Gracefield house was taken over by these people, or these monsters, to be made into a plantation. But that's very, very interesting. Either way, let's move along. We won't just escape, we'll discover a way to navigate this world on our own. Again, really good panels there. That was... Oh, it's still going, wow. Yeah, let's get away. Let's live on. No matter what awaits us, we'll be okay. Don and Gilda will cooperate with us too. Only 8 days left. As long as everything goes as planned. And then Don bumps into Isabella. Sorry Mama, I'm in a hurry. Again, like I said, hot-headed, gonna do something dumb. And he's running in the halls. And it looks like he turns quickly. And he runs into Gilda. No way. You seriously did it? In that split second? Hey, I have some talents too, he says. Talent, she thinks. I know. But Mama always carries around a single key in her right pocket. the master key to all of the rooms in this house. If this key doesn't work, we'll give up. The Pandora's box, about to be opened. Otherwise, I won't feel satisfied otherwise. Gilda, you feel the same way, don't you? Let's break into Mama's secret room. Okay, so he's gonna totally kill Gilda and bring her down with him. But if they go in and they get caught, that's at least a distraction to allow Emma and the rest of them to get their information at the wall. The only problem is, I could see Crone catching these two and then turning those two in as the ones who found out about the found out about the secret and all that, and that gives the rest of them more time to plan an escape, but at the cost of Gilda and Don dying, and also at the cost of now Crone sort of being in good graces with HQ, and maybe Isabella being in less good graces. So, and which could mean less information for Ray, so it would bring up a whole new amount of problems. They'd still be stuck in the house, but it would completely change things, so where there's a lot of new planning they need to do. But either way, I gotta say that there isn't one specific theme for that entire chapter, but that's probably one of my favorite chapters so far. Not sure what it was about it. The art was really good, but I just liked it in general. I thought that one was really fun. There are a lot of chapters so far that I've liked, and I would have to probably reread through all of them to really understand which ones were my favorite, but that's one of my favorite ones so far. Okay, so there's some fan art. Let's move on to chapter 17 and get a sip of this water. Obviously got horrible feelings about this. So, the hidden door must be behind this shelf, and we have Don and Gilda in Isabella's office. Are you really sure about this? Says Gilda. If you're not, then don't come. What's beyond the forbidden entrance? I won't feel satisfied unless I go. You feel the same, don't you? I can't keep my calm like those three can, he says, pulling on the shelf. I want to do everything I possibly can to help save her. And again, it might be that we're seeing the cost. Their own lies are bringing down Don and Gilda because they didn't tell them the truth so that they could plan objectively. Which, I mean, kind of was a dumb idea from the start to not just tell them the full truth. It does sound more far-fetched, but even then, and more scary, but again, even then it feels like the full truth would have been a better plan, especially knowing that Don and Gilda could have really helped in that instance if they had more information and knew more about what they were actually doing. But either way, Don, could it be that, Gilda thinks, God damn it, it's so heavy it won't even budge. Anyway, I just want to find out more about the true Mama. And then Gilda looks scared. She puts her hand on his shoulder. Observing the structure, she says. And then she slides it over. Oh, let's go in. I also want to know more. Nearing the truth, one step at a time. Chapter 17, The Secret Room in William Minerva, Part 2. Oh man. I'm so scared for them. Because I've really come to like Gilda. Don's a bit of a hothead, but I like him too. But I've really come to like Gilda. But I totally, I think I said last read-through that I felt like Norman and Gilda were the two with the most death flags on them. Ray has kind of accumulated a few here, but I think that Don's hot-headedness. Then again, it's actually often in stories that the hot-headed character doesn't himself get killed, but gets somebody else killed so that they can learn the lesson from it. So perhaps he doesn't get killed himself, but he gets Gilda killed, or at least in trouble, and that's how he learns his lesson. Not by getting punished himself, but by the punishment of others because of him. Alright, so either way, just a normal cover this time with the two of them looking at the door, and we have the look at the front of them here at the bottom. Okay, William Minerva, huh? And we have the three of them looking at books now. Wait, this logo, it's called an Ex Libris, says Emma. Ex Libris, you mean, says Ray, chopping her in the head. The attached piece of paper shows, piece of paper that shows who owns a book. The owner of the book before it came here. This library is actually filled with his books. Okay, the owner of the book before it came here. This library is actually filled with his books. The ones that Emma brought here are only a small portion of his collection that we have access to. So what about this secret message you mentioned before, says Norman. Look closely at all of these marks. They're all the same exact owl. There's slight differences in the printing, but other than that... Wait a minute, these circles. Yep, they're diagrams in Morse code. Correct, says, Ray, and Emma's nodding, so cute. Truth, danger, doubt, run, or I read that backwards, but you get the point. 'Cause I noticed it wasn't a sentence, so... Interesting. Impressive. How did these two even notice? But with just these words, we really can't... You trying to say we can't just assume these secret messages were necessarily meant for us? How about these then? Harvest, monster, and lastly, farm. Alright. Interesting then, so he is leaving clues, whoever he is. One thing that I thought, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, what if they spell out sentences if you put them in, oh god, what if you put them in Dewey Decimal System order? I was like, the one time it'll be useful to actually know the Dewey Decimal System. At least I think that's what it was called. Again, it has been like maybe even decades since it's probably not been since elementary school since I've had to know that for a library. So yeah, it's been a long time. Okay. I highly doubt this is a trap created by Mama or the demon, says Ray. I mean, the rules do say to immediately proceed with the shipping once the cat's out of the bag. At the very least, this is in fact a hidden message, specifically directed at us, says Ray. At the very least? Unlike this kid over here, I'm a lot more skeptical by nature, he says, bunking him on the head some more. Maybe this Minerva guy really is our ally. However, we have no way of knowing whether or not he's alive. I doubt it's a great idea for us to plan on relying on someone like that. Ray, you and your pessimism, says Emma. But, says Norman, the fact remains that we had an ally in the outside world. Heck, we may even still have allies. If that's the case, there might even be a human society somewhere out there for us to join. This man is someone... Sorry if you hear thunder in the background, it's storming a bit. This man is someone who is from the outside world and yet knew of our existence, and even tried to save us in a roundabout way. Exactly, says Emma. Only his books contain a message like this, and we don't quite know exactly where these stickers were pasted on these books, but see, there's even a sticker on this book from before too. Okay? This is the book that was published in 2015 that Ray showed us. In other words, at least this sheet of paper was pasted onto this book post-2015. Anything else? Like, are there any notable comparisons that can be made between the content of his books? Not really. The genre, publishing companies, and dates of release all vary. Oh, but there's that, says Emma. Where'd they go, she says. Aha, under those, says Ray. Aha. And then she flips two open. These two books are the only ones with circles on the logo that don't make any sense. Let's see. So one of them just doesn't have any meaning in Morse code at all, and the other says... Promise? What? If I remember correctly, one is a stereotypical adventure novel, and the other was about some weird mythological story. It's ripped in some parts, he says. I think there must be some deeper meaning behind these two books. The fact that only one book lacks a message in Morse code, the ripped pages, the message that reads promise, it's all too different to be a coincidence. So you're saying that these two books in particular are special. Yep, I'm not sure how to put it, but I feel like these books will somehow come to play in a really important role in our journey. Your basis? My gut says so. And then Ray looks upset. What's with that look? Well, I do think it wouldn't hurt to look into the mystery of Mr. Minerva and his books. Ah, says Emma, let's get going, 'cause Ray shows her the time. We should probably start helping with setting up for dinner, too. And we have the key clicking and the door opening. It opened, says Gilda and Don. And they enter to find the room. And there's a basket in there and some bags hanging up on the walls. It's just a normal storage room, thinks Gilda. Hey, over here, there's a hidden basement. It's so dark I can't see a single thing. Wait, I think I saw a lamp around, or somewhere around here just now. What if they find some crazy-ass monster shit? Or some, like, dead kids or something? Oh, this is going to be... Oh, I'm so worried. And they go downstairs, and they see all the toys from all these kids on the shelves. Like, is that Bernie, I think, on the left? Oh, yeah, that's Bernie. All the toys they said they sent back to the kids, probably. And the two of them look shocked and horrified. What the... Little Bernie, says Don. Don, she says, looking at the books. Oh, and then she points over... She looks at the books, then says Don, then points at a radio. A communication device. If this was just a normal break room, she wouldn't go through all this effort to hide this, would she? Mama's secret room. It really did exist. It really was true. Human trafficking. They're selling our siblings to these bad guys. They weren't being sent off to new families. Yeah, or else little Bernie wouldn't be here. He should have been brought to Connie that night. It's not even just that. All these toys and items around the room, all of them, used to belong to our siblings that left. Nobody else forgot their belongings like Connie did. Everybody definitely left with their belongings in hand, and yet they're all here, which means their belongings must have been taken from them before they left through the gate. Emma was right. Mama's been lying to us this whole time. But don't you think it's weird, says Don. Huh? They're being sold off to some bad guys. Did you see? Yeah, but we didn't make it in time. They're safe, right? We don't know. How did Emma and Norman figure out that the people our siblings left with were really bad guys? Ah, and, Gilda realizes it too. We're screwed if Mama, or worse yet, Sister Crone finds out, says, Ray. Why did Ray say that? Are those three really telling us the truth? What? Says, Gilda more confused. Could it be that Mama's a lot worse than we think, and all of our siblings have already... And of course they're going to be caught now. They hear footsteps. Oh no, someone's coming. An emergency occurs. From where? The study room? These footsteps. Yes, please tell them that I will be back shortly. This voice. It's Mama. What now? And of course I actually think now that they weren't immediately caught, I think that means they're not going to be. Because if they were going to be caught, it would have been this big, scary moment where it's like, oh shit, they fucked up. But since they actually hear her coming, I think something's going to happen where she gets distracted or they're able to hide or escape. Since it isn't this big surprise, this big reveal, then I think it's much more likely they're just going to escape. But, yeah. Holy shit, that was a good chapter too. The William Minerva chapters, these past two have been my favorite too, I think. That was really, really good. I'm so hyped for the series. I've said it before, but I love the way it is just really thoughtful. It is very unlike not only other Shonen Jump manga, but really unlike most manga I've read in general, in that it is very, I don't want to say very smart, but it's like most anime and manga, you know, is pretty simple, and even the complicated stuff isn't that complicated or anything. So to read a really in-depth mystery like this is really different for me. It's very different. And it makes me wonder what the anime is going to turn out to be like. Hopefully we're caught up enough in the manga that I can watch and review the anime when it airs too. We might be though, because I don't think the anime is airing until like fall, or maybe not even until 2019. Don't exactly know. But either way, I enjoyed these 4 chapters. 2 of them, I would have to go back and reread to see if I'm forgetting any, but 2 of them might be, these past 2 William Minerva chapters and Hidden Room chapters, they might be my favorite 2 so far. Or at least they're up there. They're pretty far up there. I like these 2 a lot. So yeah, that's it. I'll get to work so that hopefully I can post this tonight. It's Wednesday. Hopefully I can post it tonight. But if not, it'll be up early on Thursday. So yeah, guess that's it. Thank you once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and all that. So like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these 4 chapters and my first thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Promised Neverland, much more on the channel. I also do other read-throughs, and I'm currently reading through B-Stars now as well, which is why we go back and forth one every Wednesday. But in addition to all of that, B-Stars is really good too. They're very different series though, very different series. But yeah, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I also do reactions for other Jump manga, One Piece and Boku no Hero Academia. So yeah, guess that's it. Sub for that and much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated on stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk with me or more of us there on Discord, then just ask and I'll give you a link to that. It's free and open for anybody. So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.